The Hogyoku is without a doubt the most important object in Bleach. It is the reason for all of Aizen Sosuke's ambitions in the Soul Society arc, and without the use of the Hogyoku, Aizen wouldn't have been able to achieve half of his accomplishments. In this video, I will be explaining what the Hogyoku is and what exactly it can do. But before we get into the video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. And with that being said, let's get into it. In chapter 175, Aizen explains that Soul Reapers have 4 basic combat methods, and they are Zonjutsu, basically swordsmanship, Kido spells, Hoho, which is movement arts, and Hakuda for hand-to-hand combat. Even though all of these combat methods are at the disposal for every Soul Reaper to use, there's a huge twist. If a Shinigami attempts to master any of these methods, they will eventually hit a dead end. It doesn't matter how hard they train or how much time they put into it. Once they hit their limits, they will not improve no matter what. However, there's a method which can break this wall of stagnation, and it is called holification. Holification is the process of removing the boundaries between Shinigami and Hollow, and by doing this, the strength limit of a Shinigami is removed. To achieve holification, Kisuke Urahara created a tiny blue orb called the Hogyoku. In English, it translates to the breakdown spear. Shortly after its creation, Kisuke decided to destroy it because he came to the realization that it was too dangerous. But unfortunately, it was impossible to destroy it because the Hogyoku is indestructible. A couple of years pass by, and with no other options left, he decides to hide it. But before he does, he places a protective shell around it. And because Rukia gave her Soul Reaper powers to Ichigo, she was in need of a Gigai. Surprisingly enough, Urahara appears out of nowhere and offers to give Rukia a Gigai. And this was when he decided to use Rukia Kuchiki as the hiding place of the Hogyoku. Without her consent, he literally implants the Hogyoku deep within her soul, and obviously this came with a huge risk. For those of you who don't know, a Gigai is an artificial body that Soul Reapers use when they are stationed in the world of the living. It enables them to interact with both their surroundings and humans. See, a normal Gigai is made up of a lot of reishi so that it can compensate for the reishi a Shinigami loses when they are in that form. However, the Gigai that Urahara created for Rukia contained absolutely no reishi. Therefore, the spiritual powers of the Soul Reaper inside the Gigai would continue to diminish because there wouldn't be enough reishi to balance the reishi that had been lost. Therefore, the Soul Reaper using that Gigai would lose all of their spiritual powers and sadly turn into a human soul. What Kisuke did to Rukia is beyond heartbreaking. Couldn't he find any other hiding place? And when you think about it, it wasn't worth it at all. It was a total waste because he did not succeed in concealing the location of the Hogyoku. Aizen manages to discover the location of the Hogyoku, and through the use of his overpowered Shikai, Hyoka Suigetsu, he was able to have full control over the entire Seirete. First, he kills the entire Council of 46, and then he orders the execution of Rukia. He specifically chooses to use the Hogyoku because he needed to separate the Hogyoku from Rukia's body, and the only way this would be possible was by evaporating her soul, which would obviously kill her. And after this had been done, Aizen would finally be able to acquire the Hogyoku. However, as we all know, this didn't end up going as planned because the Hogyoku was destroyed. But Aizen didn't really care because he had a backup plan just in case something went wrong. He decided to steal Urahara's research beforehand, and luckily for him, he discovered another method that would help him remove the Hogyoku from Rukia's soul. After he retrieves the Hogyoku, he flees to his palace in Wikomundo and immediately begins to use the Hogyoku to create Arankars. Arankars are hollows that have removed their mask to gain similar abilities to that of a Shinigami. Before Aizen used the Hogyoku, the Arankars had been stuck at the same level for decades. The Hogyoku accelerated the development of the Arankars and granted them immense strength and an increase in Reiatsu. Aizen later on reveals that there is a secret about the Hogyoku that even Kisuke Urahara, the creator, does not know. He states that when the Hogyoku is in possession of someone whose spirit energy exceeds that of a captain, its full power is released for a short period of time. We see it firsthand when he creates Wonderwise, and prior to this, he had already used the Hogyoku to create the Espada, an elite group of Arankars. He also used it to hollify the previous captain of the 9th Division, Kaname Tosen, and he was even granted a resurrection. After Aizen succeeds in splitting the forces of the Gotai 13, he flees to Karakura town with the goal of creating the Oken. But before he leaves, Aizen fuses the Hogyoku to his chest. It immediately establishes Aizen as its master by giving him instant regeneration. Any wounds dealt to his body instantly healed. Initially, the audience and the entire Soul Society were under the impression that the Hogyoku was only capable of removing the boundaries between Shinigami and Hollow. However, this is completely incorrect. The true power of the Hogyoku is the ability to read the hearts of those around it and make their deepest desires come true. However, it does have its limits. It has the ability to make any dream come true, but only if it is within the user's abilities. The only reason why Urahara mistook the true power of the Hogyoku is because, as its creator, he wished for it to control the boundaries between Hollows and Soul Reapers. Therefore, his wish came true. Because they despised the fact that they were powerless, the Hogyoku was allegedly responsible for awakening both Chad and Orihime's powers. Aizen claims that he knew the true nature of the Hogyoku from the very start. However, he just needed to test out his theory. Hollifying Shinji and the other Vizards was an experiment to verify if his theory was right. And obviously, the experiment was successful. The Hogyoku is so powerful that even though Gin put a hole in Aizen's chest and literally killed him, he still managed to survive and came back to life with a new form. Aizen is just full of secrets because he also claims that he created his own version of the Hogyoku even before Kisuke, and it was revealed that he used the souls of the residents of the Rukon district, Rangiku included as well, to create his version. However, his Hogyoku was a complete failure, and true test results, he discovered that Urahara's Hogyoku was also incomplete, and in order to unleash its full potential, Aizen offers his Hogyoku to Kisuke's. And once this process had been completed, Aizen achieves his deepest heart's content. He finally becomes a being that transcended both Hollows and Soul Reapers. When Aizen became a transcendent being, his spiritual pressure could not be detected, and I think it's worth mentioning that using the Hogyoku isn't the only way someone can become a transcendent being, because Ichigo as well achieved transcendence by training non-stop in the Dongai for 6 months. In an attempt to make his final stand, the Hogyoku gives Aizen one last form to help him defeat Ichigo. However, as we all know, he was unsuccessful. Ichigo defeated him and his Zanpakuto started to disappear. Aizen was convinced that this was the Hogyoku, determining that he is one with his Zanpakuto and its abilities, and therefore he no longer had a need for a Zanpakuto. He was also about to evolve to an even higher form, but unfortunately, we didn't get to see this form because the Hogyoku started to reject Aizen as its master. However, Ichigo starts to question if the Hogyoku really rejected Aizen. He was convinced that because the Hogyoku granted the wish of those around it, then maybe deep down in Aizen's heart, he wanted to lose. Because Aizen fused his soul with the Hogyoku, he became immortal and it was impossible to kill him. Therefore, Kisuke developed a Kido spell to seal him, and this was the last time we ever heard of or even saw the Hogyoku. Despite all of the information that has been revealed, there are still several mysteries surrounding the Hogyoku, such as how was it even created? What new form was it going to give Aizen? How many wishes can it grant? Does it have a limit to its wishes, or can the user have as many wishes as they want, as long as the user has the right amount of Reiatsu? And finally, this is a question that I want to ask you guys. If you were in possession of the Hogyoku, what would you wish for? Let me know down in the comment section what your wish would be. I would personally want to know what Ichigo's Bankai is. Anyways, thank you for watching the video, and please don't forget to like and subscribe.